Elle Duncan, we are closer, which actually leads me to ask you, have you noticed my lips?
What about them?
They're a little more plump, a little more red.
Oh, so you did finally get that filler you were talking about.
Nope, even better. It's an allergic reaction because I keep kissing my dog on the lips.
Oh, my God.
Elle, say what you want. I'm not going to stop because if my lips continue to be this full and this vibrant, okay, the PDA at the Strike House might increase.
You're looking a little Matt Rife-ish. With those big... He looks like a female. Welcome to the Elle Duncan Show.
Hello.
With Gary Big Lip Streisky.
That's right. That's me.
God, letting your dog lick you in the mouth.
No, it's a kiss. Good night kiss.
You know, listen, speaking of bad taste in your mouth, WNBA playoffs.
Depends on who you talk to.
Baby, exactly. We had our first round of game ones as we taped this on a Tuesday. This all happened on Sunday. Let me put something to bed really quickly, too. I saw so many tweets from people that were like...
It was intentional.
Way to really grow the game by putting it up against football. Listen, bruh, football is Goliath.
Yes.
Nobody is biting into football's ratings. Nobody is trying to bite into football's ratings. Presidential elections and debates can't bite into football's ratings. You cannot avoid them. And so what the W is doing and what they have done for years, they put all their games, those opening round games, on Sunday. You spread them across ABC and ESPN. And you say that this is a different audience. And even though the audience has expanded, you are hoping, yes, that there is some crossover. Mm-hmm. But the idea that you would try your best to avoid football because it's just not good for your brand, good luck. Stop. What? Bye.
And it's another callback to something we discussed right here on this very show. All of the hot topics. The death of picture-in-picture did nobody any favors.
I know.
This Sunday was the ideal time. Now, listen. If y'all got YouTube TV and if you're watching on YouTube, shout out, you can go for the quad box and you can choose it. And that's a thing of beauty. But sometimes you just like that little box in the corner to keep you up to date. Picture in picture needs to make a return. All right. Because I was back and forth.
Yeah.
Elle, I was back and forth.
Yeah. So I had, I was just here at work all day long. And we luckily have something called a 6-pack. They roll out like 6 monitors.
That's cool.
So I had some of the football on. We had games happening at the same time in the W. So clearly that was my focus. But man, some good ones. I mean, it went all chalk. All of the higher seeds ended up winning.
Which we're going to talk about
in this one. But of course, the question of the day, the question until they play tomorrow, that being Wednesday, is: will this be Caitlin Clark's final game of her rookie campaign? What do they need to do to beat the Sun after getting routed? And there was some Groundhog Day comparisons. Caitlin Clark has her WNBA professional debut against the Connecticut Sun. Alyssa Thomas gets a triple-double, and they beat them by 21. Almost the exact same thing happened in her WNBA playoff debut. Alyssa Thomas gets her 4th career triple-double. Shout out to AT, by the way. Everybody else in the W has combined for 2, and she has 4. And they end up beating them by 23 points. But for me, if you are the Fever, the promising thing, a couple of promising things, is that A, you are playing the best defensive team in the W, and you saw that. They got them a little off their game, especially to start. The game was very stop and start. It was a little herky-jerky, wasn't really consistent. They couldn't get that offensive flow going that the Fever are known to do. And while DeWanna Bonner did a fantastic job on Caitlin Clark, she was, 0 for 7 against the 6'4" Bonner as the primary defender. She definitely missed some open looks. All of them did. Kelsey Mitchell didn't shoot particularly well. Yeah. She led the team with 21 points, but she struggled from the arc. She was 2 for 10. I mean, they were horrible from deep. So this is one of those games where it's like, listen, the takeaway here is to throw it in the trash. It wasn't just that the Sun exerted their will. It was that it was a part of that. And also it was the Fever just not living up to what they had been since the Olympic break.
Every single team that was lower seeded in the first games of these opening series lost by double digits. The Fever, they lost by the most. It was 20-something. But
23.
What you said, and
worst
we had
in
Rebecca Lobo on SportsCenter the day after, is that the silver lining in all of this is that Caitlin Clark took shots that she just missed that she should hit. Like, she shouldn't be going 1 for 7 from 3. They shouldn't be as cold as they were against this Connecticut Sun team. It's making you sick to your stomach even just talking about the Fever forcing a game 3 back in Indy, because if they do, they're going to win the series. She's good. Guys, Elle's fine.
Just a touch sick.
She's going to be all right. Well, I'm glad that the set has gotten closer for sure. No, that's good.
Come
That's
get
good.
this.
No. So that's like the silver lining, right?
Yeah.
For the Fever. I would like to see a little bit more, not parity, competition. I mean, last year, all the semifinals was 1 through 4. It's shaping up to be that all of the semifinals this year are going to be 1 through 4. And that's why you play, right? Like, that's why you deserve to be seated where you're at, and they get the first 2 games out of the 3. If they, if you force a third game in the opening series, it goes to the away team. But don't let the Fever win game 2.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't think that there's a huge home court advantage for the Sun anyway. There was a ton of Fever fans in there.
Yeah, but it's a little bit different at Cambridge, though.
Yes, it's definitely different in Indiana, and I will give you that. And then if you can, force that game 3, you've got all the momentum on your side, and it's a short series. And I do, like I said, I think there's some things, if you're the Fever, you're saying, okay, we were in striking distance really the whole game, and then in the fourth quarter, the Sun went on a 25-12 run, I think. So, which is really what opened that thing up. But again, they were 6 of 28 from 3. You got to give a shout out to Marina Mabry. She's someone we talked about on this show when the Chicago Sky traded her away. It was like, okay, well, I guess you guys are giving up on your season. They needed her in such a way. 27 points off the bench. It was the most for a bench player in WNBA history. She was lethal from deep, and which is what really helped them, and particularly in the second half, open up that big lead that Indiana was unable to overcome. All of the pieces were smart, but the smartest piece that Connecticut did, and this is why I'm really interested in seeing the counter. And I was with Andrea Carter and Shania Gwumbake on Sunday when we were talking about it. All 4 games of the regular season, who was Caitlin Clark's primary defender for the Sun?
The Dejanay Carrington.
It was Dejanay Carrington. And every single game, Caitlin got better and better and better. And then, of course, the last regular season game, the one that they ended up winning, was her absolute best input. Mm-hmm. So what does Steph White, coach of the Connecticut Sun, say? Okay.
Poke her in the eye.
God. I'm not entertaining this. She says, let's counter. You've seen Dejanay Carrington. You've seen her. You've gotten better against her. We're going to throw somebody else at you. We're going to throw Dewana Bonner at you, who's 6'4".
Yeah, good luck getting around a wall.
Well, exactly. And like, even when we saw in college at the Final Four, what did Raven Johnson do? What did Nika Mule do in those 2 final games against Caitlin Clark? They got in her face. You have to rattle her. You have to rattle her. You've got to throw her vision off. Sure. Her court vision is incredible. You've got to get in her. Stop it. You've got to get in her passing lanes. You've got to get in her passing lanes. And at 6'4", she had the length and the ability to do that. And that's what they were able to do. Get a hand in her face. And that's how you stop it. Sometimes the hands inadvertently end up in other places. Please don't start this.
Start what?
You know what you're trying to start.
What am I trying to start?
Don't start it. But I think that it was a very smart move. Now, what I'm interested to see is how does she bounce back? Because Caitlin Clark's been really, really good in bounce back performances. Technically, she had 11 points, so she did hit double digits. But in every game this year where she's had single digits or shot incredibly inefficiently, like she did on Sunday, she's averaging like over 26 points per game, more rebounds, more everything. She does so much better in bounce back games. I'm really interested to see the counter on
because Kelsey Mitchell still got hers, so you got to think the field
goal not efficiently, right?
Correct.
Neither one of them shot particularly well. The field goal
percentages have to be better across the board, and I'll tell you what, right now, Caitlin Clark's going to look hella cool with that eye patch coming out looking like a pirate. We're taking this thing back.
I'm wear an eye patch, sir.
Box out.
That would insinuate that her vision was off, something that she said was not true post-game. She said it didn't affect her vision at all. Black eyes indicate that the contact was under the eye and not inside of the eye, hence her not having to wear goggles,
I'm glad you see the vision non-verbally here. All right, you knew where I was trying to go. All right, and hey, listen. We're on to game 2.
Yeah, exactly. The same could be said for the Lynx and Mercury.
Okay, we got some shade here, I think.
I don't think we do. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So first of all, Minnesota was up 23 at points in this game against the Mercury.
Yeah, and they came back.
This was a wrap.
Sure.
Less than a minute to go, they only had a 3-point lead.
Sure.
Like the Mercury charged back in a big way.
Yeah, they did.
So I didn't anticipate that. This very much reminded me, like the Minnesota Lynx very much reminded me of like the Baltimore Ravens, right? To draw like the parallel, getting up big in a couple of games and then just letting the opponent creep in. 2 weeks ago, they let the Raiders come all the way back and win. This past Sunday, they tried to give a 22-point lead away to the freaking Cowboys
in the fourth quarter,
who scored 19 points in the fourth quarter. So as I'm watching this Lynx game and I'm watching Nafisa Collier like go crazy and they're dominating on home court, and I'm like, oof, this is going to be a quick sweep of the Mercury and Diana Taurasi's like swan song, her last go in the WNBA playoffs. Then I'm like, oh my God, it's a 3-point lead. And thankfully there's a 3 for them hit with, something seconds left to go in the game, and they eventually pulled it away. But what got to me was Nafisa Collier and what she said after the game.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to make sure that we actually drop the video of this in, because we have rights to this press conference. I know we can put it on our show.
I want to infer based off of just a quote.
No, exactly. And that's the problem. That is the problem.
You're
go ahead,
cover.
Go ahead and give the quote.
It seems like it's all right.
Yeah, and say it in the way that you're going to biasly say it. You're going to say it like it's shady. It seems like that's not how she said it.
Let me have this.
You go for it.
Seems like it's her retirement tour. I mean, I don't know. She's been pretty quiet about it. She's obviously a UConn great, a league GOAT. So I feel lucky to have been able to play with her on Team USA and against her. Hopefully, we can end her career on Wednesday.
Perfect.
And that's exactly like
Oh, that's exactly.
There's no reason.
That's exactly what she said.
Don't drop the video. Elle, you don't need to drop the video.
Now we're gonna put that, juxtapose what he just said up against what was actually said. Enjoy.
It seems like it's her retirement tour. I don't know. She's been pretty quiet about it, but I mean, she's obviously, like you said, a UConn great, a league GOAT. So I feel lucky to have been able to play with her on Team USA and against her, and hopefully we can end her career on Wednesday.
There you go. So not only did she say it with her tongue planted firmly in her cheek, she in no way said it like, hopefully we can. Of course she's hoping they can end their career on Wednesday. They have championship aspirations.
Yeah.
She finished second in MVP voting. She just put up 38 points, a career high, and led her team from, they were on the brink of what would have been a disastrous game one.
Mad embarrassing.
Mad embarrassing. 10 points in the final minute is how they ended up pulling away. They both went to UConn. They're both UConn alums. They are Olympic teammates. She has great respect for DT. She clearly was joking. And what made me so mad about this situation is we wanted to have some fun with it when we saw it on WNBA Countdown. And before we can even get it up, our producer's like, oh, we have a little bit of a walk back from Fee on Twitter. She explained that. And I'm like, the idea that she would have to explain something that was clearly said in jest is what is wrong with this picture. It's wrong. She was having fun. She was talking to Anthony Edwards does that, and we're like, hell yeah. Man, we love his bravado. Let's get it.
FKD.
She does it, and it's like, oh, catty women being catty. She was joking. She was kidding.
She is a member of the Lynx. That is a large cat. All right, Elle, but you brought up like UConn, Team USA. I'm on one today. Don't get me hot. Just because you worked with somebody or work with somebody doesn't mean you gotta like them. I have many examples here at the Worldwide Leader.
Name them.
Ready? No, I'm just playing. What's next?
But shout out to Diana Taurasi. She had 21 points. She shot 50% from three. Natasha Cloud, 33 points. They tried their best. Tried their best. It wasn't enough. The Lynx showed for most of that game, showed why a lot of people think they are the dark horse, if you will, to contend for a championship apart from the Liberty or the favorite.
Those plucky 2 seeds.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Not getting enough shine, not getting enough respect.
Because they do. Whenever someone's like, give me a dark horse pick, people say the Lynx as if, they didn't win the second most amount of.
I'll give you a dark horse pick right now, not to go back to it. Elle's going to be sick of this. Ready? The Fever. Look, see? She's sick of it. I say the Fever, and look, she's about to puke. Did I tell you I threw up in the White House when I went last week?
What?
I did. It was crazy. I'm like part of history. I'm a legend.
You think that they just let the puke sit there forever?
I flushed it.
Oh,
I flushed it. Oh. And actually, I do want to know. I don't know if I said this on the last podcast. I've been on many shows. Your tax dollars are hard at work because it is 2-ply at 1600 Pennsylvania.
Oh, perfect.
And I use a lot of it to wipe up the surrounding porcelain throne there as I was a little dehydrated last Tuesday. Oh, a week from today. Mm-hmm. A week ago today. I threw up. I threw up at Korean Thanksgiving. Chuseok. It was nice. It was cool.
Yeah.
It was definitely a historic
food was
day.
that bad?
No. Unfortunately, I wasn't even able to get to the food because it was a 2-hour program, and then I started feeling sick. And my mom ate, and I was like, I gotta go to the bathroom. Anyway, Elle. Give me the Fever
Yeah,
as a dark horse pick.
thank you for that ADD tour. I really
not
appreciate
gone on many
that.
of them this
Yeah,
year.
I see. And then, so no, I don't think that was shady, but I do think the Lynx are probably going to wrap this thing up. I see that.
It's a wrapperoni.
Tonight, though, we have the Aces in the Storm as well. One day after Asia Wilson, or on the same day that she's announced as unanimous MVP. Shout out to Asia. Well deserved. It's as if someone on this show predicted that she would not only win MVP, that it would be unanimous, as it should be. First time since 1997, there was a unanimous MVP. There's only ever been one. That was the inaugural year of the W, and it was Cynthia Cooper. And the Comets ended up winning the championship, the first of 3 straight championships for them. And the thing is that, because there's a question in here that's like, after you saw all the, first round games, who do you have as your favorite? And I still think on paper, it's the Liberty. They had some questions, how would Sabrina Ionescu show up in the postseason? And she put up, 18 on a team in the Atlanta Dream that she never scores on. For some reason, they are her Achilles heel. She doesn't play particularly well against the Dream. She was great. Stewie was great, which you would always expect. But in particular, I was so impressed with Leone Fibisch. I mean, from Germany. She's a rookie as well. Playoff debut, 21 points, just the 7th person in W history to have a career high of over 20 points in their postseason debut. If they can get that off the bench, they are scary. But I'm still going with the Aces for exactly what we saw against the Storm. I mean, they started out horrible. I was like, if we keep this up, this is going to be a blowout of epic proportions. I think they started out 2 of 18 from the field. I mean, they were bad. And the Storm quite literally stormed this big lead in the first quarter, but they settled in. They have that championship pedigree. They've been here so many times. They know not to panic, and they didn't. And they turned it to Asia Wilson, who went absolutely off. 21 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 blocks. Chelsea Gray starts making buckets down the stretch. Jackie Young starts hitting threes when she needs to. Like, they turn it. Alicia Clark starts hitting big buckets down the stretch. They have depth, and they just don't panic. They never panic. And so I think, despite the fact that it was the closest of the games, really, I still think that the Aces are in many ways the pole position to win this thing. Now they'd have to face the New York Liberty in the semis. I was just about
to say, is this one of those situations where a couple of years ago we got the Bills and the Chiefs in the divisional round and we're like, oof, this could be a Super Bowl. Obviously, they're in the AFC, but like, damn, we got cheated out of a great AFC title game because this is going to be the semifinal matchup.
It could be, yes. I expected the Liberty will sweep the Dream, and I think that I think that the Storm can absolutely win a game, but I still expect for the Aces to win the series. And so, we would get this as a semis and not a matchup, but I likened the Aces this year to the Chiefs last year. It was like, it's not fun or considered smart or insightful to say, I think the Chiefs are going to win because they've got Patrick Mahomes and everybody boos your commentary. They're like, thanks for that commentary. Thanks for that insight. Like, wow, how much research did you have to do to just pull the Chiefs out? So last year, us as the media thought, this is the most gettable the Chiefs have looked, right? Like, let's go with everyone else. I think I picked the Ravens to beat them in the AFC Championship, right? It's like, let's pick everyone else because they look so gettable. They don't look dominant. They don't da-da-da-da. It was all the things that they don't do. And then when it mattered the most, in the postseason, they found a way with all those pieces, all those dudes we called bums, all the people that were underperforming all year long. They just turned it on when it mattered the most. This is a brand new season. And if this is what you're seeing, if you take everything out from what you saw from the Aces all year long, and you're only judging them on the postseason, on one game, you're going, man, this is a team that they get punched in the mouth and they come back. And when you've got the best player on the planet on your team, I just don't know how you pick against them.
I think the Liberty 2L, I don't know if you agree. All that said about the Aces and trying to get a three-peat, and we haven't seen one since the Houston run the first 4 straight. All right, so obviously pressure mounting for the Aces, but I don't think there's a team that has more pressure to finally get to it and win, or who have been in a better position than the Liberty as the one
absolutely
team.
Especially as an original team.
So they lost 4 of the first 5. They were in the WNBA finals, and then they got back to it. Was it last year? Yeah, they lost it last year. Like, how many bites of this apple do you get with the players presently constructed before you're like, damn, we just cannot win? They've made it to 6 WNBA finals and they have not won once.
Yeah. So
that's crazy.
Yeah. When you're talking about the pressure and the sort of the pressure cooker, I believe that the Liberty are under the most pressure, not just because that they're the number 1 seed, but it's because they're one of the original franchises that has still never won, that is always close. We give Connecticut sort of the always the bridesmaid and never the bride moniker, which is a little well-deserved because same thing. They've been in a few finals over the last few years and they haven't been able to ultimately do that thing, but it's the Liberty. It's the market. It's the names.
Yeah, that's true too.
You know? And I think up to this point, a lot of people for Stewie in particular and her last couple of years in the Liberty has just been, she's had to have and give so much during the regular season. Does she run out of steam a little bit in the postseason because of how much she's had to play and how reliant they've been on her? And that's not been the case this year. That's not been the case. And we're seeing that with how balanced they are. And again, Sabrina Ionescu is going to be huge in this potential championship run. Yeah. She started out on a great foot. And if you're getting 20 points off the bench from Leonie Fibish, I mean, I don't think anyone would have predicted this. She would have been your leading scorer on that team. Then you are in pole position. Not to mention you've got Jonquil Jones. Like they are on paper and consistently showing that they are the team to beat, the dark horse team to beat. But certainly we're going to see how it plays out.
Listen, you can say Fibish has had a couple of Guten Nachtens for the Liberty. That's German for good night. Oh, hey, listen. Also,
jokes are great when you explain them.
Well, I just don't know if many people, listeners, viewers, or otherwise are bilingual like myself. So,
what other German do you know?
What's that? Audi.
Guten Tag.
Guten Tag. Guten Nacht.
Did you say Audi?
Yep. Stuttgart. Porsche.
Gordon Biersch.
Adidas. Hey, and there is no bigger fan. I'm serious. I'm looking down barrel to say this. There's no bigger Liberty fan on this planet than the woman I'm sitting next to right now to make it to the WNBA finals. And why is that, Elle, geographically speaking?
It's right up the street. I'm not.
And listen, hey, when WNBA Countdown on ABC rocking on a Sunday, I'm going to tell you one thing Elle does not want to do, even though she sits at the front of the plane, is get on one. Yeah. She want to take a quick hour-and-a-half car ride, all right, to Barclays Center and just be sleeping in her own bed that same night, all right?
Let me take a quick ADD tour because you brought this up.
See?
I was at a memorial service in Denver again. No, it's okay. It's a celebration of life, and shout out to my Aunt Sandy.
Your auntie.
Rest in peace,
that's right.
Auntie. But because I booked the tickets so last minute, I was put in the most humbling position.
You're about to say some real common man stuff.
Now I understand these are 2% problems, and this is going to make me incredibly unrelatable, and that's okay.
Okay.
I want to be clear. Whenever he talks about I ride in the front of the plane, I ride in the front of the plane on business trips. It just so happens that 90% of my travel is business related, and I am fortunate enough that I do get to ride on the front of the plane. When I am booking personally as just me for my family, I'm at best a Delta Comfort girl. But at the very least, I'm a Delta Comfort girl. You're going to have to give me premium economy. I'm okay with economy, but there's just something about the premium part that makes me feel a little better. Mm-hmm. Because I booked this flight so bad, late. I was in the last row.
Damn.
By the bathroom.
Bathroom access is good, though.
In the middle seat.
What?
It seemingly everyone on that flight had stomach issues.
Damn.
It was horrific.
Oh.
I was feeling like I was going to throw up. It was just one of the worst experiences. It was a 3.5-hour flight that felt like my trip to Dubai, which took 12 hours because it was bad. There was no plugs back there. I was like, is this how y'all live?
Oh my God.
You deserve better than this. I wanted to stage like a coup or a mutiny and be like, no, we deserve better than this.
We do.
There was turbulence, which gave the flight attendants a perfect excuse to say, none of y'all are getting any service in the
Correct.
back. We started, little turbulence. We need to sit down. None of y'all are getting You're not getting anything. Mm-hmm. And it was bad. And then, Gary, when you sit back there, the worst part? It takes like 25 minutes to deplane. We landed early. I didn't land early. Because I had to wait.
You landed a little late.
I actually was late.
You landed late.
I had to wait 25 minutes to get off the plane. I was like, I watched a whole entire episode of Emily in Paris while I was just waiting on people to deplane. It was a nightmare.
Damn, see, that's crazy because to me, that's the common man's first class is to be in the back row because let me put you on a little bit of game because I've been back there. That's kind of where I make my living, my bread and butter. You can stand up and just go stand back there with the flight attendants. You just stand and start stretching. Asian people love to stretch. I just be back there like this. Like, y'all got any more of these snacks? And then if it's past midway through the flight, they might peel you off one of those things you got to pay for, like one of those snack boxes.
Oh, like the eat 'em up boxes.
They
or
might
whatever.
peel. Hey, we got a couple extra. You want one? I'm like, straight like that for sure.
You're like, hell yeah, I want the dairy that you don't even have to put in the
And
refrigerator.
then I'll be touching my toes. I'm back there. I'm looking out the window. I won't even spend time in my seat, Elle. So you just did it wrong. Hey, it was a 4.5-hour flight, but going to Denver, at least it was probably super choppy. And it was, dude, flying into Denver against the Westerlies. That's like one of the worst flights ever.
100%.
Damn.
So then I was like, was it because we're back here by the tail? I mean, I literally pretended like I did not know what it is to not fly in first class. It's so insane. But you know what I did on the way home?
You were up front.
You know I was.
I know you were. She was laying flat like this. Hold on.
I was like, absolutely not.
This
I'm
is
not
Elle.
doing this again.
This is
Nope.
Elle. This is Elle right here.
Right. Nope. I was like, the light bill will get paid next month. I don't give a damn. I'm sitting in the front. This is too horrific. It was bad.
Elle was in the lay flat for sure. She was in the aisle. She was like, never again.
Yeah, I had to have that comfort. All right, let's go to the NFL. You ready?
Let's do that. Too long didn't watch Monday Night Football edition. The Commanders beat the Bengals led by rookie Jaden Daniels. Gives me hope we can get more young and competent leadership in D.C. If we get one more person in their 20s, that'll actually double the number, Elle.
The Bengals are winless since Joe Burrow started cosplaying as Eminem, which is ironic because at 0-3, they're now in a hole. A B rabbit hole. They need to lose themselves in some film.
F Lotto, I'll get the 7 digits from your mother for $1 tomorrow. Elle, this is the earliest in the season I've had to jag off. Bills were up 34-3 at half. 47-10 was your final. I know for a fact Josh Allen's arm was sore after that one.
I knew you were going there because we are getting to the point where everyone is going to start publicly jagging off. And it's actually a really timely reminder from our friend Buffalo Bill that when you do jag off, it puts the lotion in the basket.
Hey-o! Some people don't need those additional accoutrements.
Oh, God.
What?
So you just...
I don't do that. Elle,
Our producer's literally going, right. By the way, that was a Silence of the Lambs reference for you.
I understand
some
the
of you.
reference.
Well, no, not for you.
There's
Some of the youngs.
There's some chuckling to my left.
Some of the youngs don't really understand the
They
Buffalo
can't handle
Bill.
the sex jokes.
Yeah, they get a
They
little.
can't.
They get a little nervous.
Let's talk about NFL.
Let's speak of
football.
other sticky situations.
The Broncos are not in one.
Wow. How about that?
Read your mom's text.
I get a
Come
text
on.
from Tony.
Tony!
Because I am, of course, on air. I am not watching football.
Yes.
I am focused on the WNBA postseason because that's the most important thing. And I get a score from my mom, and I'm going to read it to you exactly how she texted it.
Yes.
All caps. The only score to Jay Giff was what we gave them. Go Broncos.
That's
My
what Bo Nix will do for you.
My response was, I didn't watch. And then she explained that Javonte Williams fumbled at her 5, and that's the only reason that they scored. And the Bo Nix was sacked 0 times and threw for 216 yards, rushed for 47. And they beat the Bucks in a game that I imagine no one on Sunday Countdown picked them to win.
That definitely ruined a lot of
Survivor
survivor pools.
yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
NFC South is nice.
Yeah, I mean, look at the Falcons. Like, you had an opportunity.
Minus the Falcons.
You had a bit of an opportunity. Let's like dive into football by doing some relationship stuff.
Okay, perfect.
Because we love sort of dissecting bad relationships and seeing how they need fixes. And with the
Yes.
Falcons, you had this opportunity.
Yeah.
Like, you are going toe to toe with the defending champs. I looked at my husband before that game and I was like, I don't think this is going to go well. I really don't.
They were billing this as like the most important game in like Falcons history.
Which is wild for a
It's
team
crazy.
that played in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, straight
2
up.
of them, like, wild. Anyway, and they drove right down the field.
Yeah.
First drive.
That was an impressive.
I was like,
oh, damn,
snap,
Kirk Cousins
okay.
rolled the clock back.
100%. He's looking like vintage Kirk
Uh-huh.
Cousins. He's moving better. You know, that was my biggest concern for him. They're showing this practice video and the guy can't plant on his foot. I was like,
Uh-huh.
this is bad. And he's looking good. And then I had to go back to work, so I missed a little bit of the middle stuff. The Chiefs started chiefing. But they had an opportunity at the end. Shout out to Justin Simmons,
Mhm.
former Bronco, gets a pick of
That's right.
Patrick Mahomes.
They
He's
got
picked
him
him
for
6
nothing,
times.
too. They got him
Nothing.
for nothing.
He's picked Patrick Mahomes 6 times.
Yeah.
You know, he said afterwards, like, the thing about Patrick Mahomes is he's fantastic, but he will give you a couple.
Yes.
You just have to catch him. And they put them in a position to win this game. And instead of putting the ball, and I know this is going to sound wild for someone that was advocating for him getting benched 2 weeks ago, instead of putting the ball back into Kirk Cousins' hands, which had proved to work, you decide to run Bijan Robinson out wide on 4th and inches.
Yeah, you just
inches. And like, here's my thing.
Just
I
run it up
get
the
it.
middle.
Like, they set the table by being like, oh, well, with his Achilles injury, maybe you don't do a quarterback sneak here, and I went back and looked, and like, yes, they stuffed the middle. I'm not sure that he would have picked that up. But on 4th and inches, you can't push with someone.
Yeah.
I mean, put Bijan in a wildcat then if you're so concerned with
You
Kirk
got to
Cousins.
give your guy a chance.
It's inches, bruh.
Yeah.
And instead you run him
You
wide.
can fall forward and pick that up.
You can fall forward and pick this up. It just was, the play calling was so wild to me. And it goes back to, the Falcons offensive coordinator is a first-time play caller.
Yeah.
That game is the first time it looked like he knew what he was doing. That last series was just...
Kyle Pitts got accosted too in the end zone. Kurt Herm Edwards was red hot on SportsCenter the next morning. He was like, I don't know what planet this does not get a penalty.
Correct.
When he was just mauled as the ball was coming to him at the end of that game.
100%.
Yeah. So,
speaking of which, I'm glad it didn't happen. The Ravens we mentioned earlier tried to spit the bit. They tried to give this thing up at the end. But I'm glad that ultimately the result wasn't impacted by one of the most erroneous roughing the passer calls I've ever seen. Where? He tackled him around the fucking legs. I'm so confused on how you're supposed to. Come on, man.
You can't touch anybody.
He tackled him around the legs. He just sort of fell forward. It was the most innocuous looking tackle I've ever seen. And that's a roughing call. It was wild to me.
It's funny because right now my TikTok algorithm are the old school 20 years ago ESPN and Monday Night Countdown bits of you got jacked up. And every single one of those hits, I'm like, oh my God. These people would be put in federal prison. Jackson's nodding his head. He got the same algorithm as me. Hey, okay, what about the Vikings? I want to run through a real quick game.
Wait, real fast. I just want to run through.
It.
How old is Jackson?
Huh?
Okay, and how old are you, Gary?
37.
Oh, and you guys have the same algorithm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Age
Go
is but
ahead.
a number.
Go ahead.
Okay, let's talk about the Vikings. Speaking of being 27, Sam Darnold, who is younger than Joe Burrow.
Yeah, man.
Did I not say this on First Take? I sure did. DP's in the background, I think, nodding. I was like, Sam Darnold is a playoff quarterback. He is top 5 in QBR.
Yeah.
He is top 2 in quarterback rating, and he leads the league in freaking touchdown to interception ratio and touchdowns with 8. So let me play a quick game with you. He has 117 quarterback rating.
Okay.
These are blind resumes, and you tell me if you would rather have Sam Darnold or this blind resume. This quarterback has 850 yards, 4 touchdowns so far, and 2 interceptions, right? Middle of the pack QBR.
Okay, yeah, I'd rather have Sam Darnold.
Of course you'd rather have Sam Darnold than Dak Prescott. Duh, no brainer. Okay, this is another middle of the pack, 600 yards, 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions.
Across 3 games?
Yeah. Bo Nix, though, right? I mean, he got his first win. Okay. We'll make this juicier. No interceptions.
Okay, I like
so
no picks.
Perfect. 3 touchdowns. Right?
Okay.
120 quarterback rating.
Ooh.
Yeah, but limited action.
I'm gonna go with Sam Darnold.
Yeah, you don't want the red rifle. You already got Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
He is the red
Andy
rifle.
Dalton? No, thanks.
Hey. Oh, let me give you just two more quick ones. 659 yards passing, 5 touchdowns, but 4 interceptions.
I don't want the picks.
Yeah, you don't want Patrick Mahomes. Elle, you don't want Patrick Mahomes. Come on. You don't.
Okay,
hell no. You don't want Patrick Mahomes.
No.
Okay, no, for
you
real.
take the good with the bad with him.
Yeah, last one. 700 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, not very much, through 3 games. Doesn't turn the ball over much, though, just 1 interception.
Do they have a good running game?
Yeah. Yes. Very good. Actually, super good.
Is this person Lamar Jackson?
It is.
Okay.
This person's Lamar. This person's Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
But like Sam Darnold he has better numbers than every other quarterback in the league except Derek Carr right now.
Yeah.
Rebirth.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because like people like you, amongst the great NFL minds.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm a WNBA hoop head and an NFL basically analyst.
I see you. But Dan Orlovsky and Mina Kimes said that and got laughed at.
Yeah.
And Dan was doing his victory lap. He said on First Take weeks ago, before the season started, that Sam Darnold could be a playoff quarterback in this system. And because of the way that Kevin O'Connell works with quarterbacks, because of the weapons that he has, really solid defense, good running game. And Stephen A was laughing at him. And so, Dan did his victory lap and made sure to retweet the clip of him saying that weeks ago. But this is good. I mean,
have much in common.
You guys are very similar.
Lockstep.
You also have really horrible food takes. So that's also.
First of all, what? I I have a diverse and eclectic palate.
Sure.
I do.
That's why when you went to...
Did you hear what I had for breakfast today? I was channeling my inner Europe. I had a double espresso and un chocolat.
From Big Y?
I think it was from Whole Foods.
Okay. How European of you. But the question, of course, becomes, while we're feeling so great about Sam Darnold, who's really probably only getting this opportunity, if not for the fact that J.J. McCarthy went down with a season-ending injury in the preseason, what do you do with J.J.?
Nothing.
Just let him sit.
Yeah.
Sit and marinate. Jordan love him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't disrupt this. And a lot of credit to Kevin O'Connell, who, like, in just a handful of years, like, Kirk Cousins got massively paid because of the offense that Kevin O'Connell installed. Justin Jefferson is happy with his quarterback right now, and you want the best wide receiver in the league to be happy with the guy who's throwing him the ball. The Vikings could be scary.
I have one last question for you before we wrap up this show.
Okay.
We all fall in love at some point.
Yes.
And some of us, Gary, commit to that person for life.
Yes. I understand.
It's not quite as dramatic in football,
the concept.
But when you commit to someone, when you fall in love, you give them a ton of money and you say, you're my person. Mm-hmm. And then you see the person that you left for the person that you chose glow the up in such a beautiful and wonderful way.
This could be so many people right now.
It could be, but it's the Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels situation.
Oh, yeah.
The Commanders look like they are in full command with Jaden. He looked phenomenal.
2 incompletions.
2.
91% accuracy. That's an NFL rookie record.
You talk about a coming out party. And I got to give a shout out to Greeny because I'm watching Get Up today and they're all saying like, oh yeah, like Washington is like in such a great position for Jaden Daniels to thrive. They've got a great running game. They can block for him. Like he's going to thrive in this situation. Caleb Williams not in a great situation. And before I could even go, wait a minute. Y'all all said Caleb Williams had the best situation that any rookie quarterback has ever come into. Greeny said it first. And it's true. And the thing is, and I thought Dan Graziano brought up a great point, is that what did Washington do to make Jaden Daniels successful? They went and got a center. They looked at his offensive line. They made sure that their running game was solid.
Went and got Austin Eckler, yeah.
They
touchdown
right?
last night.
Exactly. Yeah. The Bears didn't address their offensive line issue, something that has been plaguing them for years and during the Justin Fields years as well. And while they gave them tons of tools and weapons around them, it doesn't really matter how great your receivers are if you don't have the time to get it to them. Mm-hmm. Some of that is still on Caleb Williams as well, right? Like some of the stupid throws.
Yeah,
like,
he's been playing kind of like Dookie.
I mean, he's been making throws that he could have got away with playing in the Pac-12 in college, but they're not NFL open type of plays. And so he's been making some mistakes as well. But if you are the Bears and you're seeing what Jaden Daniels is doing, knowing you had an opportunity at him, how are you feeling?
Yeah, well, not as bad as the Panthers are feeling about skipping on CJ Stroud. So... y'all can commiserate together.
Yeah. Talk about it on the group text.
For real.
All right, before we get out of here.
Talk to me.
A couple of weeks ago, the internet was having a ton of fun with a Seminoles fan that said that if they lose to Boston College, he would eat a cup of They did lose to Boston College. He disappeared off the face of the earth. And
he's off the grid.
At time of recording, we've not found him and he has not eaten this cup of poo.
Coward.
So a K-State fan was like, I'm actually gonna throw out my own challenge and I'm gonna level up. And he said that he would shove a Taco Bell beefy 5-layer burrito up his very specific if K-State lost to BYU. Do you know what K-State did?
Damn, for real?
They lost to BYU, and this man has also disappeared. Do you think that there is some like witness protection program for dudes that promise to do disgusting things with poo and butts?
You're like, what are you in for? Well, BYU lost. Or K-State lost. That's interesting because I love Taco Bell. I've never been when the sun's out, but I feel like that burrito doesn't have the structural integrity to make it.
That's the first place that your mind went. The first thing I went was like, how big is your, you know what, if there is a burrito that could be lodged in it? But to your point.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, logistically, I'm not sure you could.
And I will say this, because I think I've had one of those, the burritos, before.
But in your mouth, right?
Yes, correct. Thank you. Thank you for the clarity. I feel like the insides of that look the same.
All
going in
right. Yep.
It's time to leave.
I think we're going to go.
You're the one who wanted to talk about
hopefully
this.
we have a show.
I was completely cool with just being like, see you guys next time. This nice, humble show that our families listen to.
Rate it and subscribe it. And if we do ever have another show, I'm sure we'll have some more interesting things to talk about. But if this was the last one, Gary, just want to say, it's all your fault.
What the hell? I didn't do anything. I was going to go home and kiss my dog.
Okay.